All right, today we're going to talk about one of the most incredible journeys, well, ever, NASA's Artemis II mission. And we're going to connect it to real estate. Yeah, I know, it sounds like a bit of a stretch, right? But stick with me because it turns out the exact same principles that get you to the moon can actually teach us a ton about building a career that goes the distance, right here on Earth. Okay, so look at that number, 252,756 miles. That is how far the Artemis II crew traveled from home. And here's the crazy part. This wasn't an accident. We all know the story of Apollo 13, that harrowing, unexpected journey. This was the exact opposite. Every single mile was intentional. It was a deliberate, planned-out push to the farthest point a human has ever been from our planet. Which, of course, brings us back to that big question. What on earth does a trip around the moon have to do with selling a house? I get it, it sounds totally random, but you're about to see just how deep these parallels run. It's like a hidden blueprint for not just surviving, but really thriving in a tough business. Okay, so where do we start? Well, it all begins with your why. Every single great endeavor, I don't care if it's going to space or building a business, it doesn't start with what you're doing, it starts with why you're doing it. I mean, just think about NASA's purpose for a second. The goal wasn't just get to the moon, no way. The mission was so much bigger. It was about proving that the tech, the systems, the people, that all of it could work for an even bigger journey, getting to Mars. It was all about taking this huge, crazy idea and making it feel not just possible, but actually doable. And that right there is the key difference for you as a real estate agent. See, a goal, that's transactional. It's about the number of closings. It's the commission check. But a mission is relational. It's built to last. It makes you ask the big questions. Who am I really here to serve? What am I building that will outlast me? It's the classic sprint versus marathon.
And this really just nails it. A goal gets you to the end of the quarter, but a mission gets you to the end of a career. Look, goals are great, you need them, but they're temporary. A mission, that's your North Star. That's what guides you through all the ups and downs, the crazy market shifts, everything. It is literally the foundation for a career that lasts.
Okay, so you've got your mission figured out. What's next? Well, now comes the hard part, the long, quiet, and totally non-negotiable work of getting ready. It's time to build your rocket. Just let that sink in for a second. The most powerful rocket ever built took over a decade of work before a single person saw it fly. A decade of engineering and testing and failures. It's proof that if you want incredible results, you have to commit to that build phase, all that tough work you do when nobody's watching. There are absolutely no shortcuts. So what does your rocket look like as an agent? Well, it's built out of these 4 key things. First, you need deep, deep market knowledge. Then you've got to have killer negotiation skills. Third, you have to master your scripts and dialogues. And finally, and this one might be the most important, you need that emotional steadiness to be the calm in your client's storm. And listen, you don't just learn these things. They are forged in thousands of hours of practice and a lot of rejection. All right, so you have your mission. Your rocket is built. You're ready for liftoff. But here's the thing about getting into orbit. It is not a gentle ride. It takes a massive, uncomfortable amount of force. Let's talk numbers. At liftoff, that rocket generates 8.8 million pounds of thrust. Can you even imagine that? It's just a deafening, earth-shattering explosion of pure power. And why? Simple, because that's what it takes to escape gravity. And that is such a powerful lesson, isn't it? Physics does not offer a quiet path to orbit. And you know what? Neither does your business. The laws of physics say you need a huge burst of energy to get moving. And honestly, the laws of business are exactly the same. Your comfort zone will not get you into orbit. Period. So what's an agent's version of 8.8 million pounds of thrust? Well, it's all the stuff on this list. Cold calls, expireds, FSBOs, circle prospecting. And let's just be real for a second. None of that is fun. It's not supposed to be. These are the activities that generate the raw power you need to break away from the pack. The top agents, they don't do this stuff because it's easy. They do it because it works.
Okay, you've launched, you're in business, but the journey is just beginning, and it is not a straight line from point A to point B. This next part is all about dealing with the constant, unavoidable need to make course corrections.
You've got to hear this. The Orion capsule on its journey, it made dozens of tiny corrections. But here's the key. NASA didn't see that as a failure. It wasn't a flaw in the plan. It was the plan. The plan was to constantly adjust. Expecting to go off course is actually how you stay on course. And look how this plays out. In space, it's called cosmic drift. In real estate, it's a buyer walking away, a low appraisal, or a sudden shift in interest rates. These are not signs that you failed. It's just the physics of the deal. The best agents don't freak out. They just recalibrate. They find new auctions, they renegotiate, they adapt.
Which brings us to the whole point of this thing. After all that work building the rocket, that insane launch, all those course corrections in deep space, what's it all for? It's all for that one final moment. Think about it. Every bolt, every single calculation, every correction, the whole thing, this massive, multi-billion-dollar effort, exists for just one reason: to bring people safely home. That's it. That is the only thing that matters in the end. That is the splashdown. And that, right there, that is your splashdown. It completely changes how you see your job, doesn't it? You're not just closing a transaction. You are delivering a family to the place they have been dreaming of, to safety, to security. You're bringing them home. That's the mission.
So what's the glue? What's the one thing that holds this entire, crazy, complicated journey together, from the drawing board to the splashdown? Well, funnily enough, the astronauts themselves told us. The Artemis II crew got to name their capsule. You know, the one thing that would carry them through it all. And of all the names in the world they could have picked, they chose integrity. They knew it was the single most crucial element of the entire mission. But let's go a little deeper on that word, integrity. The root word is integrated. It literally means the quality of being whole and undivided. Its job is to bring all the separate pieces together and make them work as one. Now, think about a real estate deal. You've got the buyers, the sellers, the lenders, inspectors, appraisers, attorneys, all these different people, right? And they all have their own goals and their own fears. The thing is, none of them chose to work with each other. You are the capsule. Your integrity is the one thing that integrates all of those separate, sometimes conflicting parts and holds the whole mission together. You take that away, and the whole thing just falls apart. And I just want to leave you with this. It's a quote from Victor Glover, the pilot of Artemis II, while he was 250,000 miles away from all of us. He said, "You're on a spaceship called Earth. We've got to get through this together." What a perspective, right? It's a reminder that we're all on this shared journey. Your clients, they're not just buying a piece of property. They're trying to find their safe harbor on this spaceship. And being the one to help them get there, well, that's not just a job. That is a mission worth flying.